This is the house with art studio in it that I have been building along with my family and the help of a couple of contractors since 2021. The actual house didn't start construction until last year in 2025, but the whole process for the property and also for getting the permits started in 2021 when I bought the property. And this video is including some of that story to get us to this point now. Having drywall in my house is bringing this whole dream to reality. I can really envision the space now. I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about the light and the vault. And let's go into the art room. So this is my studio space. It's going to be amazing. I can already tell. I'm so excited. I can't even believe it. It's been a long time waiting for this. Yay! I'm at the stage now where it's time to think more about the interior spaces. I'm at the point where I need to pick out paint colors and I need to think about what do I want my cabinets and my shelving to look like. I've purchased some samples to try on the walls. Please give me a like and a subscribe if you want to know how the studio comes together. But let's get back to it. So I'm starting to think more about layout and practicality, and I see my pony is walking down a trail which he should not be walking down, so I better go and get him. I got them back, here they are. And it wasn't that hard to get you guys back, was it? No, just had to call them. I'm actually going to get their mash now. It all started back in 2021 when I sold my farm and then fell in love with 12.5 acres that was just 10 minutes further down the road. It was mostly untouched forest. It had been last selectively logged in the 1950s and was really preserved in its natural state. I started taking my cat hiking on the property once I bought it. He absolutely loved exploring the trails and the trees. You're funny. Little ridgeback cat. This was a way for me to get to know the property and all of its magical forestiness as well. Liam doesn't quite know how to be a shoulder cat yet, so what we do is this. One of the first things that needed to happen was drilling a well, and luckily the well drillers were able to get in among the trees and they found an excellent water source. We set up an RV pad with the intention that I would live in the RV, but as it happened with my head injury, I had a little too much difficulty living there. I found I could hear too much and it disturbed my sleep. There were areas that needed to be cleared that fall, both for the driveway, the horse shelter, and my house area as well. We chose the fall so that it wouldn't disturb bird nesting sites. Autumn is definitely my favorite season, and on the property, autumn is absolutely gorgeous with all the maple trees changing color. We had to prepare the land for my horses to move in because they were going to be moving in that winter. Fences needed to be built, a temporary shelter was put up, and I actually bought a sawmill, which we milled the wood, mostly deadfall from the property, but anything that we had to take down for the building sites, we milled as well, and then that was put back into the land with the fencing and the shelters. The horses moved in, and it was at a time of one of our rare snowy spells here on the island, but I had some temporary electric fencing that I set up while we were still working on the permanent fencing. I was living in the RV at that time, and Liam would literally climb the walls of the RV and he hid behind the couch. During all of this construction, I would have major migraines where I would see flashing lights in my head, and I exhibited a lot of symptoms from my head injury, but I had to forge on. Liam, come. Good boy. In 2022 was actually when I returned to art. I was in my 40s. I hadn't been doing art really since my teens. I had done like a little bit of acrylic painting in my 20s, but I came back to it through soft pastel pencil because I had always been a colored pencil artist in my teens. And I even sold my very first painting, which was the bear painting. But I feel like that whole topic of how I returned to art is for another video. This video is more about the development of my property and my art studio and house. And 2022 was a big year because we got power to the property. And then my dad got really into heavy timber building and we built a shelter for my horses, a proper one. And it was built right out of the wood from the property. This was definitely a family affair with my cousin helping, my dad's best friend, and also my brother. The horses very much appreciated their fancy new house though. In 2023, we built the outhouse slash shower house for the property. This is for anybody who is visiting the property, so the goal was for like workshops with perhaps some art retreats, and then of course for all of us who are using the land regularly. I was quite focused on therapies like vision therapy and oxygen therapy and just preparing for my exam because here in British Columbia we need to do a homeowner builder exam in order to be the general contractor of our own construction. The test would involve me being on a screen for an hour and a half answering questions and a time limit and also doing something that was high pressure, which is extremely difficult for me with my head injury. So it wasn't something I could do until I felt a little bit better. As it was, I did complete the test. I ended up with a flare-up for a couple of weeks, so a lot of extreme headaches and other symptoms. But I passed the test in 2024. This meant I could apply for my building permit, and before I had bought the property, I had done my due diligence, hiring a biologist and a geotechnical engineer to evaluate the property, let me know that everything I wanted to do to it was all right, and I had also talked to our local regional district. However, once I actually applied for the permit, suddenly the rules had changed and I needed to get out a geotechnical engineer and a biologist again. And the regional district did not believe, neither the biologist nor I, that there was no fish-bearing creek on the property, even though you can clearly see there isn't one. This caused a lot of delays until eventually the regional district actually sent some people from their office to come look and see for themselves that there was no fish-bearing stream on the property. And then I was approved. But by then it was kind of winter, we couldn't really do anything, so we waited till the next spring to start our footings and slab. I very much enjoyed being involved in preparing those footings and slab. It was exciting to know that I was making the foundation for my new home. And when the concrete truck showed up to fill those footings, it was a really amazing feeling, although a very hard work day. We used the Nadura styrofoam forms because they were really easy for us to put together and they were quite light. Occasionally I would find little critters in the foundation area, and I kind of saw it as my responsibility to get them safely out of the construction area and back into the woods where they belonged. When you're building your own house, every single stage just feels extremely exciting. Like every step just feels like the big step, and it's so much fun to see like concrete trucks show up or to be even digging for a sewer line. And I felt that I was feeling better this year. I'd kind of learned how to manage my symptoms better, but I also think some of my healing was in place, and it was just really exciting to be able to be present, to be helping out, and to be watching as my house came together. I do confess I wish this sand was going in my horse training area. I really need it in my riding arena, but you know what? It's good for being in a slab as well. Speaking of slabs, my family and I prepared the area for the concrete, but then I hired contractors to put in the actual slab. Part of being your own general contractor for your house is deciding which things you want to tackle yourself and which things you'd like to contract out to the professionals. This was one I was really happy we contracted to professionals. Would have been a ton of work, and it's not so easy either. Another major thing that we contracted out was the framing. We do know how to frame, but this was another job that we just felt was best left up to the professionals. It went so quickly and they did a fantastic job. In my previous life, I actually designed roof trusses in an office for about 17 years, and it was a really challenging job and an enjoyable job. But then I switched into horse training, and now I'm mostly focusing on art. But I do have a special love for roof trusses, so I was excited to see these going up. And it was also something that, again, we didn't want to have to do ourselves because we didn't want to be up inside that roof, having to brace it, and also putting the tongue and groove plywood up onto the roof. This is more of a dangerous job, best left to the young, fit guys who are really accustomed to doing it. Here's a bit of footage I recorded at the time.
This is my new home under construction, being built primarily with my dad and me, but also help from family members, and we did have a framing contractor. It's exciting to think about moving in, probably not until next year, but the room that I'm the most excited about is going to be my art studio. I love to think about how I'm going to set this room up. It's got nice double doors, which I can leave open, or I can have barn doors here. It's got a really big window, so lots of light looking out towards the forest and also towards my horses. The room I'm standing in is going to be my art studio room in my house. If you've got any suggestions for storage hacks for a good art studio, I would love to hear it, and also some layout ideas.
We wanted to get that metal roofing on before winter because a lot of rain comes down here on Vancouver Island. It was important to get that roof dry and protected. We had family members helping out, including my dad's sister, so my aunt, and then also my cousin. My little cousins were playing games in my future living room, which was fun for me to see. And then, of course, the windows and the doors came, and that brought even more life to the house in terms of making it feel like an actual house. And the slugs, they climbed on everything, and I realized they're going to be a major part of the house, climbing all over the windows and doors. But then it was autumn, and construction slowed down until the next season. Our winter season is short here, so early 2026 we were already working on the trench to supply power and water up to the house. We had to run long cables and long hoses from the well house to the house, and the electrician had a great idea for unspooling the cable. We actually used our tractor and the spool on the back of the truck.
A big moment with the switch. So the hose is coming from inside the house.
That's it, water at the house.
And you can see some rust in there, but... We also tackled the insulation ourselves, and it was amazing how quiet this house is. You can't hear anything once you go inside it, so I'll know be able to sleep well in there. And my brother came to help with the vapor barrier. Then the drywall went in, and that was when things really felt finished. Well, not finished, but like a house. It really feels like a house in there once the boarding went up. That, again, was something we got contractors to do. We didn't want to have to deal with that, but I could get a sense of the light and the space now. The mudding is all done, and we're all caught up. We just bought paint yesterday, and soon we'll be painting the house. I have some samples to try, and I look forward to putting them on the walls and seeing how they look. Thank you so much for watching this video, and give me a follow if you want to see how the studio comes together.